adventure. And Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
While the world spins around, I am still. Screams and dreams are drowned.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. And I'm excited about our next guest because she is a true artist in every sense of the word. So let's welcome to the show, Chloe Trujillo. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for that great intro.
Oh, but it is like, it's funny. You don't find many people like you that have so many diverse creative abilities. It's like a lot of times people focus on one area and they're kind of okay maybe in other areas, but man, you just seem to be like the creator of all creatives.
Thank you. Yeah.
When did it all start for you? Like, when did you start getting into art and creativity and music and all of it?
I think I always was. For ever since I can remember, this was my outlet. I always say I was a very shy child. And so it's through my artwork and secretly writing songs, not really sharing, but like it was just allowing me to express myself in a safe space. And I don't know, it was always there. I was always addicted to create. I always had ideas coming into my brain and I had to just let them out somehow. So it's, yeah. And if I let them, it was like that overflowing. I remember, there's always moments in life where you don't have time, like in school, for example, I had like homework to do. I had the pressure of my dad, like wanted me to be the best in my class of everything and all that, and it let little room for creativity. And that always made me like I had all this stuff like a knot in my stomach, like I have all these things I need to let out. And same thing happens when I first had my kids. I took care of them, and it's a 24/7 job. It's like nonstop job. And like when they would take naps, instead of me sleeping or cleaning the house or whatever, I would be like, I have to paint something, I have to write something, I have to. So it's always been like that. And it's actually almost like a self-care. Like it's kind of a healing tool.
Totally.
If I don't let it out, then it's going to build up and I don't feel that great. So, yeah.
That's so true, too, because I am a huge believer that like any kind of art and getting into that zone of it is like the best therapy ever, the best escape from everything. And you can just just dive into it and forget about everything else. And funny, my dad, he used to, he was an artist that would go on these, different, moments because and he would like sometimes for 3 days, just all he would do was paint for 3 days. Like you didn't want to get near him, he might paint you, that much in the zone. But that's what was healing, and like I look at his art and I knew him very well, so I could see his personality in his art, both the light and the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is how you get it out, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now you have this new EP coming out, and you have this new song that came out in December.
Yeah.
My first question is, okay, we have the album cover art behind here. Did you do the album cover or the song for the single, the art for the single?
Yeah, so I mean, for each of them, like the first single, which was As the Sky's Falling Down, actually the art was taken from the video shoot of that same song. And this, yeah, I chose this image, even though it was not specifically first taken for this song, but I had the image of like, at first, you know, when I wrote the song, I had the visuals of a cloaked person with the hands open to the sky, and it was almost like releasing. I felt like, you know, I had the vision of releasing like old pieces of paper with writings on it that were like representing the old beliefs and all of that, and being like, my first vision was being barefoot on the ground and letting that healing energy coming, you know, and being released into the skies. And then I found this image that was taken from a totally different project that was never used. And I was like, well, this is very similar to what I want to convey as far as the message behind that song. And so that's how, yeah, that's how I use this image.
That's pretty cool. And it's funny how you say that too, because when I first saw the image and listened to the song at the same time, my first thought was, man, this is really badass, because it like combines two parts of my personality. You got the metal part and the spiritual part. And then I thought of, and you might think this is wild that this just came into my head, but I'm like, she should go on tour with Heilung.
Yeah, I'd love to. You
Right?
know,
That would be like perfect.
A song I would love to. I for the Savage Land project. I don't know if you heard of that.
Oh yeah, I'm well familiar with it. Yeah.
Yes, and we did a video, and I did yeah, and so that's when I met Heilung, and I didn't know much about them, and then I was like so curious, and I watched, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool, so great. So I appreciate you saying that, because I love them, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild too. Same for me. Like, I never really heard of them until, okay, so I go on tour and I do coverage of music festivals here in the US, UK, Europe, and I was at Hellfest.
Yeah.
And I had an interview set up with them, but I didn't know who they were at first. And like, my rule is, well, I have to go see their set, because, you know, I can't promote their music if I'm not being there and being the fan, you know? And I was like, I couldn't believe first, like, how many people were just from Hellfest, one of the biggest festivals in the world, were just gravitating to them. And then I just sat up there up front, and I was like in awe. I think it was like one of the first times, thousands of concerts in my life, that I was like in a trance.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
No, it was amazing. And I same thing. I didn't know much about them. And then when we shot that video and we did a little ceremony, and I got to actually give hape to one of the guys, and I'm like, oh my God, I've received hape. I don't know if you know what it is. It's like the pure tobacco, and then you put somebody's nose, and I've received it, so I know what it feels like, but I've never given it to anybody. And we did this whole video clip, and it's just yeah, it was amazing. And that's how I discovered, I was like, who's Heilung? And then I watched a lot of their videos with their gear and full on like metal meets spiritual, like you said, like
totally
ceremony on the stage at a metal festival. It was so cool. So yeah.
So I thought of that too, because like your music matches that style, of course. But then when I saw this art, I was like, wow, that. And then you were talking about wearing the cloak, and as you were talking before, and that just confirmed it even more, you know?
Yeah. Because on my lyrics and you know, it has that spiritual connotation. So you have like the first, you know, everything has deeper meanings. You can take the superficial meaning, but then it has like a deeper underlying meaning to
Yeah.
whatever degree you want to understand the song. So for me, yeah, it's a very spiritual process, even the way I write. So yeah, so I appreciate you saying that, because thank you for recognizing this.
You're welcome. And you do walk your talk because you are a healer and you do Reiki. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, see, I think it just goes all hand in hand. And that's what's cool about it.
Yeah. I've always been fascinated with what we don't see, you know, like the you know, energy, what, you know, we can feel and sense things, but some things cannot be explained in the physical world so much, you
No
know.
doubt.
So it's like, yeah, so I that always fascinated me. And you know, I mean, when I was super young, I was always wondering what happens. I know a lot of us wonder, like, what happens, like, is there a life after death, is there this, what are ghosts, you know, what are spirits, what are this and that. And then you know, I got super curious very young and read a lot of books about, you know, all kinds of different what do you call it, like belief systems, you know, not just religions but also different belief systems, and seeing and trying to digest it all and trying to make up my own mind and trying to experience things and trying to get clues of what really is going on. So yeah.
Nice. And you know what? I have to say too, because I've been looking at it the whole time we're talking, but that piece of art behind you with the eye, with the blue eye, that is freaking amazing.
Oh,
like,
thank you.
it's so good that it's hard to even concentrate on the interview at times, because it like kind of draws you in. And that's what good art is stuff like that, you know?
Well,
So,
thank
so the new EP Rebirth, tell us what that's all about, because I love that too. I'm also a motivational speaker, so I love the positive message in the song lives and, you know, just all together in Rebirth. Like, it says it all.
Yeah. And you know, I called it Rebirth also for that reason. And I felt like I came to a time. So I actually removed my old catalog from streaming platforms. I'm going to remaster some of the songs and re-release them as we go. But I felt like there's this new energy. I don't know how to call it, like this, and that's why it was a rebirth. And I felt like I wanted to share more of my truth, and it could be universal truth too, because there's a lot of similarity, like we're all connected, right? So and I chose to do this without censoring myself. So that's how I felt like it's a rebirth, because just letting it out without trying to be somebody I'm not, and not trying to necessarily please everybody, like not like just be true, like true. So this is why I chose the to call it Rebirth, because it's just like a new birth, and now like peeling all the layers and letting it all shown. And yeah. And
It's the only way we move forward, right? Like, as long as we keep holding on to all those past limiting beliefs and past trauma and everything else, you know, it's the only way to move on.
Exactly. And it's not easy, but it's not an easy journey.
No.
You know, it's it's true. We gotta just go through, and you know, there's ups and downs, and like I talk in one of the songs too, like, you know, this is life.
Yeah, totally. And like in the single Lies, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, in my opinion, because it's like we do sit there and we tell these lies to ourselves, and I think it inhibits our healing, because if you're not truthful with yourself, forget anybody else, but you have to be truthful with yourself in order to move forward and to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And it's not easy, because there's years of programming, and it's, you know, like I said, it's like peeling layer by layer, and, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I also want to say, okay, so I'm in South Florida, and I'm totally bummed because I was actually thinking of going to Art Basel in Miami this year, and then I had something else come up, and I saw one of your, I think it was one of your Instagram reels where
Yeah.
you were shipping off a surfboard to
Yeah.
Miami, and that, see, I also surf, so that's badass because like when I go to all the art shows, that's my favorite part of the art show are the surfboards that are
Oh,
painted.
amazing.
So I want to hear about your surfboard art.
I started painting on surfboards many, many years ago through Billabong Europe. They commissioned me to paint on a couple boards and for inside their store, on display. And I never thought of it. Like, okay, I know how to surf. In my family, everybody surfs. I mean, my husband and my son are the ones that are going all the time in the cold California waters.
That's where I started back in LA. Now I go to Costa Rica where it's always warm.
Yeah, I actually learned to surf when I was 17 in the Canary Islands. But they
Nice.
live, I'm from Paris, France, and it was like warm water, clear water, perfect, nobody out,
Nice.
So it was nice. But I always find like there's a very similarity with like surfing because I felt it's a very spiritual experience too. You're
Totally.
out, you have to be in the present moment. You're out in the ocean. You're just you and your board, and there's a magical thing about it. And I got really inspired after the Billabong thing. I'm like, I love to paint on this. So now I kind of reclaim like all the old surfboards that either come from my husband or my son that they don't use, or people that toss away surfboard. I reclaim them and I just prep them and paint on them. So
I love
I
it.
actually have a couple of I'm gonna do some more surf art for this hotel in LA, and then I'm gonna be part of another surfboard show in May in Malibu at the Tracy Park Gallery. That's gonna be cool. So I have a lot of new boards to paint, so I'm so excited. I have some that are actually laying outside in the sun to get the wax off,
Right.
I gotta clean them up, but yeah.
Well, that's like, okay, so one of my best friends, he passed away last year, but he custom designed me a surfboard with my logo on it.
Mhm.
And, like my podcast logo has me in a wave. Okay. But and he's like a famous nose rider designer, pro surfing champion from the 60s. He's pretty well known in that whole LA area, Bob Purvey.
Mhm.
And like I've been afraid to even put it in the water because I don't want to ruin it, because it's like, and now especially since he's passed away, I'm like, wow,
Yeah, you gotta
I can't use that board.
I know most people, because my boards are also surfable, but most people that buy my boards are just hang them in their homes,
Right.
But
Exactly.
I tested the first board, not for Billabong. Billabong, I trusted them, and it was for display. But the first board I made that I was selling, in the gallery, I tested it. I went out and made sure, just in case the people wanted to take it out, that it was okay and it was well, and it was all fine. So yeah.
So I have to tell you a funny story since you mentioned your son. Okay, so I interviewed Ty at one of the Wimmer festivals,
Yeah.
and it was when he cut his hair short.
Oh yeah.
And so I asked him during the interview, I kid you not, I'm like, what made you cut your hair? Like most kids at that age, they're not gonna. And he said, you're gonna love his answer. He was rebelling because everybody in his family has long hair. I thought that was the best answer ever.
I know.
So funny. So what else do you want to say or talk about or let the listeners know, not only about the new EP, but the new single, your art, Also your Boulevard of Eyes project.
Yeah, well, I'm actually in the process of launching a new website, and which is it's still going to be chloetrujillo.com, but I'm redesigning it, so I'll have a lot of the news in there. It'll be updated. I'm very active on social media, Chloe Trujillo, for all news. But yeah, like I said, I have a lot of art shows coming up for 2026. The music video for Lies actually is going to come out at the end of February. So yeah, on my YouTube channel. And we had a blast shooting it. We shot it like right before Christmas. I think it was December 22nd. And it's going to have some cool animation and some cool stuff in it. So I'm super excited. And then the full EP will be released early March. And I've been writing a lot of new songs. I'm actually excited about them because I want to do like a full album after this. With Boulevard of Eyes, we just toured Australia in this past November.
Nice.
So that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be also new music videos on that end as well. What else? I started the process last year of writing a book. So I'm excited about that, but that's going to be a long, that's a long project, you know. I have a couple of notebooks full of my writings, but you know, it's really cool to process everything and kind of put words in a different way, not in songs, but in a.
It is totally different. So that'll remind me of another funny story. Okay, so my head engineer here at the station, he passed away a couple years ago, but he was a musician, and I came to him with this song one time that I wrote, and I'm a book author, like I've published book, you know, and that's the type of writer I am. So I wrote this song, and I said, I need your help. I need you to turn this into a song. Okay, let's collaborate together. With him and his girlfriend, they were a country rock duo, and I'm like, I need your help turning this into an actual song. And he laughed at me because he looked at it and was like, the hell is this, a book? And then, as you know, it's so hard too, like when you have objective outsiders, because he was saying, can we take this out? I'm like, no, that's important. Like everything he was asking to take out to try to shorten it to a song, no, that's important. That needs to stay in there. I mean, we finally ended up doing it. I just acquiesced. Okay, do whatever you want. And, and we made the song, but it is so different, is my point, to write a book. So now I'm even more impressed, because like the fact that you'll write a song and write a book, it is a process.
Yeah.
And you said how long, you know, it's funny. The book I published, I've written several books, but I've only published one. And the one I published, it took me 6 months to write the first half of the book, because I stopped. And you know how that goes. It's like you just stop, and it's like, and then it took me like 1 day to do the second half.
Wow.
Because as soon as it came back to me that I was right, I just did it. And you know how that's how it goes with anything, with art too.
Yeah.
You know, my dad, when he would paint stuff, it never stayed the same. Like he was constantly reforming it and looking at it and finding something.
Yeah.
Do you do that too?
Sometimes, yeah. It's like I you know, when you're so deep in any type of work, I feel you're so deep into it. But then I like to step away to kind of look at it with either, you know, look at it with fresh eyes, or listen to it with fresh ears, or, you know, whatever you're creating. But yeah, it's
wild, right?
Like you wanna, yeah.
Exactly. So tell everybody how they can reach you on not only your website, but all your socials, and look out for all the great stuff you have coming out in 2026.
Yeah, so most of it is easy. It's Chloe Trujillo, CHLOE TRUJILLO. So chloetrujillo.com for my website. We're going to launch the old one is still up, but it's going to be all updated. So it's going to be launched within the next month. We have some little tweaks to add, and then Instagram, Chloe Trujillo. I think there's still a Facebook, YouTube. All that is should be Chloe Trujillo. So you can find me there. I'm pretty active on Instagram. I keep it up. So you hear about all the news about all my art shows, music, concerts, fashion shows, and all of that. It's gonna be on there.
I love it. And they can't listen to my show anymore unless they buy your merch.
Agreed.
Whatever it may be.
Oh,
That's
like
that's the rule.
I like it.
Well, thanks a lot for giving us such great art. And I say art because it's all of the art that you give us. And we need art more than ever nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, so we could unite together and be happy and get rid of all the negativity. And I thank you for being a part of that. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for having me on your show. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hi, this is Chloe Trujillo, and you are listening to the Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.